The drama surrounding the Indiana Fever's clash with the Los Angeles Sparks wasn't just about basketball, it became the latest showcase of how broken WNBA officiating has become, and how its stars are being pushed to the brink of rebellion. What should have been a celebration of grit and resilience ended in outrage, confusion, and accusations of corruption, with Caitlin Clark and Sydney Colson standing at the center of the storm. From the opening whistle, the night felt strange. Missed calls piled up, whistles seemed to favor one team, and the entire game carried the uneasy aura of something slipping out of the players' control. By the final buzzer, the Fever had escaped with a 76-75 victory, but instead of relief, their locker room buzzed with anger. The conversation wasn't about a win, it was about yet another night of officials tilting the floor. Another night where the players had to fight not just opponents, but the referees as well. The turning point came when Kelsey Mitchell, Indiana's explosive guard, attacked the rim in the second quarter. She beat her defender clean and surged toward the basket, only to be grabbed mid-drive, yanked so blatantly that even fans in the last row expected an easy foul call, but the whistle never came. Mitchell, tougher than nails, finished the play. Anyway, but the damage was done. The Fever bench erupted, stunned that something so obvious could be ignored. The referees, stone-faced, kept the game moving as if nothing had happened, and that was just the start. Late in the fourth, with only seconds remaining, chaos unfolded. Mitchell, at the free throw line, tried to miss intentionally to bleed time from the clock. Instead of letting the play run its natural course, the officials bizarrely granted the Sparks a timeout reset, something almost never done with so little time left. Suddenly, 1.9 seconds stretched into nearly 5 minutes of stoppages, arguments, and head-scratching rulings. The Fever looked around in disbelief. From the sidelines, Caitlin Clark, sidelined by injury but locked in every possession, finally snapped. She leapt from her seat, screaming, waving her arms, demanding justice. Lexi Hull joined her, furious that Mitchell had been hacked repeatedly with no whistle. The referee's response? They gave Hull a technical foul. The player who got fouled was ignored. The player who committed the foul kept playing, and the teammate who dared to protest was punished. If that isn't rigging, what is? The Sparks were handed every chance to steal a game they hadn't earned. Shot clock malfunctions, questionable whistles, and selective enforcement tilted the floor in their favor. To Fever players and fans, it felt less like competition and more like theater. Watching from home, Sydney Colson had seen enough. The veteran guard, recovering from a torn ACL, turned to Twitter and unleashed one of the most viral posts of the season. At a certain point in the league's existence, I'm gonna need Kelsey Mitchell to get the same whistle as other stars, she wrote. The way she gets assaulted is insane, actually. I've considered roping my sister in to have her office pursue charges. It was sarcasm laced with fury. A public declaration that Mitchell, one of the league's premier guards, was being systematically disrespected. The tweet exploded. Thousands of fans shared it, many echoing the same thought. Finally, someone said it. Clark's reply was short and sharp, but devastating in its truth. Careful, you're going to get fined. 6 words that revealed the league's ugly reality. You can get hacked on the court, shoved to the floor, and ignored by officials, but if you speak up, your paycheck gets lighter. Colson's response: I can't get no more fine, only underscored the absurdity. This wasn't exaggeration, it was the lived reality of players muzzled by a system that punishes honesty more harshly than dirty fouls. Just ask Sophie Cunningham. The Mercury guard has become the poster child for what happens when you criticize referees. She's been fined 3 separate times: for a TikTok mocking officiating, for comments on her own podcast, and for bluntly pointing out that Paige Beckers was being babied by refs, while others like Mitchell got hammered with no calls. Cunningham earns a solid salary by WNBA standards, but when $500 here and $2,500 there vanish every time she speaks, the fines cut deep. Over $2,000 gone this season alone, not for violence, not for unsportsmanlike conduct, but for telling the truth. This is where the outrage boils over. The WNBA, under Commissioner Kathy Engelbert, has built a system where officiating isn't just inconsistent, it's selective. Clark herself has absorbed 17% of all flagrant fouls in the league this season. One rookie, one player, has been targeted for nearly a fifth of the most violent plays in women's basketball. That's not coincidence. That's a pattern, and the league's response has been silence, or worse, punishment for those who dare to say it out loud. Coach Stephanie: White has called the officiating egregious all season. Fever players are hacked, shoved, and undercut on a nightly basis while opponents smirk, knowing they'll get away with it. The referees aren't enforcing rules, they're enforcing narratives, and when Indiana pushes back, they're hit with technicals or fines. It's a system designed not to protect players, but to protect the image of referees who are failing at their jobs. The hypocrisy is glaring. Paige Booker's beloved rookie gets whistles for the slightest contact. Meanwhile, Mitchell drives into the teeth of defenses, gets hacked on the arm, shoulder, and torso, and walks away with only 2 free throw attempts the entire game. 2. It's selective enforcement at its worst, and everyone can see it. Fans, broadcasters, social media, the only people pretending it isn't happening are the referees and the league office. And yet, instead of addressing the problem, the WNBA has chosen intimidation. Cunningham gets fined. Colson risks fines, even from her couch. Clark, the face of the league, can't even joke about it without acknowledging that speaking up comes with a price. The message is clear: shut up and take it, or we'll make you pay. But here's the thing. It's backfiring. Every fine, every technical, every silencing attempt only amplifies the issue. Fans rally harder, offering to crowdfund fines so players can keep speaking. Former Fever executive Lynn Dunn even stepped in, publicly siding with the players and promising to help pay if necessary. What was meant to muzzle the conversation has instead turned it into a megaphone, and the timing couldn't be worse for the league. Caitlin Clark is dragging the WNBA into the mainstream, filling arenas, shattering TV ratings, and finally putting women's basketball into the national spotlight. This should be the league's golden era. Instead, its credibility is collapsing under the weight of incompetent, inconsistent, and possibly corrupt officiating. Colson's voice hits harder because she isn't even playing right now. She's beloved across the league, known more for humor and positivity than criticism. For her to unleash that kind of fury says everything, and Clark's sarcastic reply shows how normalized the fear of fines has become. Players aren't debating whether refs are competent anymore. They're calculating how much honesty they can afford. Fixing it isn't complicated. Standardized training, independent evaluators, accountability for missed calls. The simplest of principles: a foul on one end is a foul on the other. Yet Engelbert and her office choose financial bullying instead, shielding referees while sacrificing the integrity of competition. So here we are, another Fever game turned into another officiating scandal, another night where the narrative is about corruption, not competition, another chance for the WNBA to protect its stars wasted in favor of silencing them. Fans